In the Marvel Universe, Thanos is quoted saying, "The biggest sacrifices require the strongest wills." Then here in the DC Universe, the multiverse actually, a different Earth, Bruce Wayne showed us what that really meant. He was actually screwing Wonder Woman, and he said, you know what? No thanks. I'd rather have a cool hat. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Welcome to the Extreme channel. We have another Extreme collectible in front of us today. My name is Mr. X, and today we are looking at Prime One Studios' Merciless Batman. So this is from the Dark Knight Metal comics. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what that is, I talked a little bit about it in the first piece I ever received, This Batman Who Laughs. But essentially, it's the multiverse concept, and in that, there's different universes where Bruce Wayne turns into kind of a different character, whether he merges with Flash or Joker. Now, this particular storyline, he is actually called the Merciless. Now, what was going on is, him and Wonder Woman were a couple. And for years, they were trying to stop Ares, the god of war, a well-known Wonder Woman adversary. In one huge climactic battle where they were about to beat him, or in fact they did beat him, Bruce Wayne takes the helmet of Ares. And unbeknownst to us at the time, he's about to don it on his head so he can rule with justice throughout the universe, and Wonder Woman tries to stop him. Now, we don't know this till much later in the comic, but he is so lusting after the power, he actually kills Wonder Woman, his significant other. And then when he puts it on, it starts to corrupt him. And instead of being merciful and bringing balance and justice, he actually becomes merciless. And in his mind, there is only one thing that's important, and that's victory. So he goes off to slaughter villains and heroes alike and becomes one of the most powerful creatures because he kind of turned into a god along with Batman's powers of being rich. He is almost unstoppable. Can you imagine a god that was rich? I mean, we know the god of today isn't rich because he's always asking for money in church. So that's a little bit of storyline behind this guy. Now, I'm getting most of the entire line of this. Now, as I said, it's made by Prime One Studio. This is 1/3 scale. XM Studio recently revealed a 1/4 scale. So you can see this right here. It's actually smaller, 1/4 scale, and he's sitting on a throne, which matches the character well. Now, I originally was not going to get this one. It was one of the few I was not going to get in the line. However, I saw some pictures and videos in hand, and I thought the paint and sculpt looked absolutely amazing. For half of the statue, I think I was right. He looks great. And if you appreciate the storyline behind this guy, you like him even better, because I think that Prime One Studio captured the concept of this in absolute fantastic form. While I do like XM Studio on a throne, all the other ones I have are this scale, and that wouldn't look good. I hate mixing scales. So we're going to do a review on him. We are going to look at the paint and sculpt. Like I said, for the most part, there's some amazing parts. There's definitely some parts that need better. We're going to look at the design, the different display options. We're going to talk about value. But like I said, the concept, in my opinion, which is the best part, is where we're going to start with this guy. Now at the bottom, you have a museum subbase. I don't like this. It's more of a design issue. It just adds to the height, which is already a little bit too tall. And again, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But underneath that, you have kind of this mix. It's like your classic DC Prime One Studio 1/3 Batman base. There's actually not some gargoyles, but some pictures of his helmet on the front. There's some lava dripping down. And if I recall correctly, that's where that big climactic scene actually happened. Also, I believe Obi-Wan actually beat Anakin Skywalker there as well. Same setting. As you move up, you see the rocks and you see the lava overflowing from it, some broken pillars, and you see some homage or whatever it is to Wonder Woman. You see her actually carved into a stone. Maybe he semi-remembers her because, again, I said they were lovers in this universe. But the Merciless is standing above her in his pose that he loves because, remember, I said he's all about victory. That's what he's about here. He's fully armored up from top to bottom, and it looks very, very cool. Kind of this medieval, godlike throne vibe, just like Ares, because Ares was the god of war. He has all this intricate stuff all over him. You see chainmail underneath it. We're going to look at that closer in paint and sculpt. And the symbol he actually has on his chest is more reminiscent of Wonder Woman than it is Batman. But as you move to the top, he's holding up his sword, and you see the helmet. So this helmet is kind of morphed into a bat because he transformed into a different creature. He took kind of part of Batman and part of Ares and put them together. Ares' helmet was more warlike, but it did have fins sticking out. And there's a few different portraits we're going to look at. So I think they knocked it out of the park. They made this guy look absolutely victorious. He's ready to kill anybody. He in fact did kill everybody. This is kind of like a God Killer sword he has up top. It was his weapon of choice. So I think the concept is a 5 out of 5. They absolutely nailed it. However, to create such a great concept, I think they sacrificed some stuff with design. Now, before we talk about those sacrifices, here's the unboxing and assembly of this piece. Two different boxes that arrived 4 days apart, because why would they come at the same time when they were shipped at the same time? And I'm sure there was some art boxes, but I never take them out of the Prime One Studios outer boxes because it just sucks to do that. Standard foam. First box was just one thing in it. It was just the base. Second box did have 2 layers with all the different switch out pieces, which we're going to talk about. You can see the first layer right here has some body parts, some armor, and the second layer had the body, a portrait, and the shoulder pads. Now really quick, I got the exclusive version, so the exclusive has 3 portraits. Let's look at those. First you have the one that's very bat-like on the fins on the helmet. They actually almost look like wings. I like this one quite a bit. Then you have one that's more of a traditional war helmet, but there's still some bat-like stuff in it with red eyes here. And those both come with any version of this you get, but the exclusive version has this unmasked portrait. Now in this universe, Bruce Wayne looked more like this. And they did an amazing job on the paint and sculpt in this. We'll look at it closer. Now, obviously, the big negative of this, it's way too tall. So the tallest part is, I have over, or just at 44 inches. This may be my tallest 1/3 scale statue. The widest part is probably the base, about 17 inches. For exact dimensions, check out Prime One Studios website. And the deepest part is about 18 inches. So it's going to be very hard to display. Now, one can easily argue, why did they have to do that? I mean, he already has a lot of commanding presence because of his pose. I think they could have chopped this in half down here and maybe saved themselves about 6 inches. I mean, I'm telling you, if something is 6 inches too big, it can really be damaging.
That's what she said.
So I think that's a huge negative. This makes the displayability of this almost impossible. And I'm really a little bit worried he's going to be touching the ceiling where I'm going to put him. If you want to see what he looks like next to the CGC slab I bought that's this exact same pose, make sure to check out the Extreme Channel's social media. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. The link for those is in the description below. Now everything is fully sculpted with the exception of this chain. This is what we would call mixed media. Everything fit together fantastic. I think one other negative is they should have offered an arm switch out where the sword was at the side. So again, that would have saved you about 6 or 7 inches up here to make it easily displayable. But there's just so much wasted space. It really, really bothers me. I really think what they were going for was such a cool concept that he towers over others. I think they still would have had that. So for those reasons, I only give the design a 3 out of 5, despite the fact there were no other issues. I think this issue is so big, no pun intended, that it really downgrades the statue. However, some of that they make up for in the paint and sculpt, specifically on Batman, not so much on the base. Let's look at that. We're going to start at the weakest part, the base. First, the museum sub base that, like I said, I don't even think is needed. It doesn't even look good. It looks like plastic. They tried to do kind of a cracked effect, and I think the speckled paint on it doesn't help. There's almost some brown that's mixed in there with the black. But I don't get why they were doing that. If they were trying for a museum-style base, they should have made it sheer black, no cracks, because it's really not part of the statue above it. The gold looks fine. I've seen better on other Batman statues, especially Batman statues that are quite a bit older. I do like the cracks through this because it really insinuates kind of a, war scene. And the bat head on front, that's pretty cool. I'll give them that. The lava, I like it more now than I did when I got it out of the box. That gloss effect really helps, but when there aren't lights on it, you don't see that, and it looks very bland, very matte. And I think not only the sculpt of the way it's flowing, but the way it's bubbling up, I'm just not a huge fan. And then they tried to do kind of some scoring on the other side of these rocks to insinuate the reflection of the lava or the heat from it. I don't think it works. This looks a lot better under these bright lights. I have really bright lights on it, but without the lights, it's pretty poor, to be honest with you. And the top, this rubble right here, the black rock, isn't much better. I think they needed more texture in it. And again, it gives a little bit of a plastic appearance. And I can't tell if that's the lack of layering in the paint. Black is hard to do, but I am not a fan of this base. I think the Diana, the Wonder Woman, this is kind of cool, sketched into the stone. I do like that part of it. There's a column on the back you never see or, really realize there. They probably wanted to put a fire hydrant, but realized that would look too cool. Let's look at Batman, though. He's fantastic. So his armor has a little bit more speckling than I would like, but I really like that blue color. It almost comes off as a purple in certain lights and certain layers. I think that's neat, and almost like this teal blue kind of popping out. It looks really great, and a lot of battle damage, which I like as well, because like I said, he went around and pretty much kicked everyone's ass. And not only is there a lot of battle damage, but when you look into the buckles and things of that nature, the leather here looks fantastic, looks like real leather. Paint's really clean around the belt buckle and the clasps and the ornate designs on here. Then he's got his little kilt here up front, his little dress. This looks great. Looks like real material. And again, look at this ornate design on the side here. How it's tattered and flowing. It really just kind of flows with the statue. Really well done. Kind of the same on the back. That leather just looks great. And his dress flying down. Now his chainmail, there's a few different parts to his chainmail. Most of it, so let me rephrase that. Not his chainmail, but the material kind of armor he's wearing underneath the armor here. That's not true chainmail. It's just kind of padded clothing. So really thick. So I think that's indicative of knights at the time. They'd have to wear that type of thick bandages and clothing to embrace their armor around. So this is kind of a gray color, but it's a variation. It's a little bit of blue. So it's a nice transition from this gray to this blue. But he does have chainmail up here, and the chainmail is awesome. Looks really good. You see underneath his arms, a little below his neck. We're going to look at the portraits in a second here. We'll look at those last. The breastplate up here looks great with the Batman and Wonder Woman symbol. So much design on this. It's really, really well done. Sword looks okay. So it is... it's not metal, which that would probably be too heavy, and you can tell by looking at it. It doesn't look bad unless you're really trying to look at the detail. And I like, this is almost very Wonder Woman-like, all the symbols on it. And I think the gold really helps break up the statue. But let's look at the portraits. I love the red eyes. And again, I love how the bones and the wings of the fins up here look great. Then these razor sharp teeth going up and down. So this is the portrait that's more bat-like. And then you have kind of the in-between one, which is more similar to Ares' helmet, but still a little bit different. Still get a little bit of that bat. And the chainmail on here looks fantastic. Now, well, I think those helmets are badass. The paint and sculpt on Bruce Wayne is really, really good. The way his hair flows. They have some gray and black, just the strands look fantastic. Look at the individual sculpted hairs in his beard. The skin tone is spot on. Look how clean this paint is too. The scar over his eye. This is a really, really impressive portrait. His teeth. Really well done. Because it's so well done, I will definitely keep this out and switch it from time to time. I'm really digging this piece. It had a few letdowns like we talked about, but I think overall it's pretty damn impressive. All right, like I said, I think a very weak base. Even Mrs. X was kind of a little bit on it. So, but typically you don't see lava too much on too many statues. So I do, recognize that. And I've actually never seen lava in real life. But I would give the base a 3 out of 5 at best, although I'm kind of judging them separately. Batman, however, Prime One Studio always knocks it out of the park with their 1/3 scale DC pieces. The paint and sculpt is phenomenal, and I think it is on this. So that's a 5 out of 5 in my opinion. So I'm going to rank the paint and sculpt together, although usually they're separate. I think it's a 4 out of 5. Again, I'd probably rank the base 2 or 3 out of 5, and Batman himself 5 out of 5. All right, so is this statue worth it? As I said, they're doing an entire line, and my guess is they're going to continue to release new characters. Now, there's a lot here. They made 650 of these. 300 have the Bruce Wayne portrait. The rest do not. The ones that have the Bruce Wayne portrait retail for $1,400. The ones without are $50 cheaper. That's pretty much the ongoing price of a 1/3 scale statue nowadays, unfortunately. But you know something that's interesting? Prime One DC 1/3 scale statues usually don't hold their value. A few of them do, but a lot of them sell for a lot less. We don't know about this Dark Knight metal line because it's too new. The first one that came out, the Batman Who Laughs, goes for a ton of money in the aftermarket. Plus you pay a couple $100s for shipping. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give the value on this a 3 out of 5. It's still kind of to be determined. I could probably get my money back once it sells out, but it's still available because a lot of people, frankly, don't know how cool this character is or how great this statue is. Which brings us to the last category. Does this have the X factor? Again, not a cumulative score, but hey, is this awesome? So size does matter, and a lot of people look at that and be like, whoa, that's cool. And like I said, if you know the background behind the character, I think it makes it even cooler. I think that raises it up some. So for me, it's a 4 out of 5 statue. I'm a lot more impressed than I thought I would be, and I never imagined ordering this, honestly. I didn't think I would, but then I saw those videos and I'm like, shit, let's just do it. And I'm pretty happy I did. I think he's going to look fantastic with the other pieces. What do you guys think? Obviously, I do like Batman Who Laughs better. I think that's one of Prime One Studio's best statues. But it's very cool to see such an off character getting love now from multiple companies like Prime One Studio and XM Studio. So do you like that one better, the XM Studio on the Throne, or this one? Throw that in the comments below because I read every comment, and also it could enter you into a drawing for a free statue. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thanks for the stand-up review, guys. Really appreciate it. In the meantime, please check out some of these other videos. Drop me a like on the way out. It really helps the channel, and I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.